So do you have any advice for other vintage sellers out there?
You know, I really, the advice that I could give is to be very present on your social media, to constantly read and to follow people that are doing a great job in the genre that you're selling, to be supportive of your other sellers all the time, whether you know them or not. Always leave a positive comment. If I see something that somebody posted where the name is incorrect or the item's incorrect or their price is crazy, I'll message them and just be like, hey, I just wanted to give you a heads up. I think this is called this. Check this out. And, you know, if I think somebody's selling something for $2, it's worth 240, I'm going to message them and be like, this is worth more. Here's what I would look at, you know, and I am the way. So when I first started with SSVS, I had Jenny and Megan helping me, and they were always so kind and on the ball, and they answered any question as I have. So I feel like when I meet people that need that help, I'm giving it out too, because people were so nice and so receptive to helping me and helping me build up, because I had no idea what the shopping network was on Instagram. I had no idea why people were following each other and tagging it and all this. And I messaged Megan and I'm like, what is this? Like, because we were just following each other randomly. And I was like, can you tell me what this is and like how to be part of it? And she was so supportive, and she took time, like she took phone calls with me and like stupidest questions I could ask. She's like, yeah, here, this is how you do it. You know, this is what a hashtag is, you know? So I just feel like nothing will come to you overnight, and nothing will come to you if you don't work it. And it's like any other business. You have to research, and you have to put the time in, and you have to wait, because it does, like, it takes time before the sales come in. It takes time before you have the right followers, and you do have to constantly search for those followers, and you know, and just be courteous of others. Like, I don't try to poach on any sales. I don't try to, you know, if I see somebody listing something I have similar and say, hey, I have the other piece of the set, I'll do that, because sometimes somebody's looking for a set. Yeah. Not to take away from what somebody else is selling, but just in case our seller wants a complete set of dishes and not just, you know, a cup and saucer. So I try to do that. But and sometimes I'll private message them and say, I have this other piece if you guys want to list together or something. So I just think that we're all very supportive, and that's what it takes to be a team. That's what it takes to be out in a network. You just have to keep supporting each other and being, you know, appreciative of what you have. So
absolutely. You're way smarter than me. When I started about 3 years ago, I spent probably 6 months trying to figure out, like, what in the world are all these other sellers talking about that they're like working together? I can't figure it out. And I like Googled everything I could think of. It never occurred to me just to freaking ask somebody.
I know. And I was like, what is this hashtag? Should I just start using it? And I thought maybe people were just using the hashtag and calling themselves part of a shopping network just because they sold on here. And I was like, thank God I never did that, because like I wouldn't want to be yelling at me, be like, why are you using my hashtag? So I reached out, but it took me a while before I did too, because I tried to follow and learn first. So I would not say I'm smarter than anybody. I just one day was like, hey, what does this mean? So yeah, it took me what, like a year to learn how to use stories, and now I'm like, I still don't really know, but I'm like, here, I'll put you in my story, whatever that means. So it's just fun now.
We're all learning, and
we are.
It amazes me how, like, even when sometimes I feel like, because I've been doing this for almost 3 years, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm an old hat at this, and then like I learn something new all the time.
I know. I would say probably now I'm a year and a half on Instagram, I would think, as a seller, almost a year and a half. But I've been doing eBay since I opened eBay probably in like 2000, after like around college, when I was getting out of college, whatever. I was helping my mom. We used to own some businesses. So like we owned a restaurant, and we had a garage behind the restaurant that had like all of her things from like her first apartment, the stuff that I took when I got my first apartment. But it was tons of stuff that was in there. And she's like, all this has value, so we're not getting rid of anything. We're selling everything. And I'm like, Mom, not everything has value. And when I think back to the stuff that we just gave away at yard sales, I was like, that did have value. But it also needed to do the 20 years, like, and come to now where people are collecting it again. So in, 1990 or 2000, people weren't collecting it. So now I look back and there, I took something. So I took some beer steins and some other things that like my dad collected when he was younger, and I sold those on eBay. And then from there, I would just throw in stuff here and there. So I probably had my eBay for 20 years. But now, like, I would say the last like 10 was where I was really selling on it, and the last 5 is when I started moving faster and moving stuff. Like sometimes I'll look at my records and I'll be like, wow, I sold so much this year. And it doesn't feel like it because it might be $12 items or something, but you move a lot through and you stop and you're like, huh, I really know what I'm doing. Like if I'm moving that much through a week or a month, like I must be doing something right. Right.
Exactly.
And I just believe in being very honest with what I'm selling and what condition it's in and not trying to hide anything and, just being courteous to the buyers because without them, where would we be?
Exactly. Yeah, earning buyer trust and just building rapport.
Yeah.
And I think that's been my favorite thing about Instagram because I've been selling on eBay for a long time too, but eBay, you're just there's no
Exactly.
face, there's no personable.
Right.
People just say things and you can't build a rapport with anybody,
Right.
So
Right.
being able to build that rapport on Instagram just it's so much more comforting because I think Megan and I talked about this in her interview as well. Like just knowing that nobody's gonna go off on me on Instagram.
I know. I've had some very interesting feedback or messages through eBay, and I don't want to say I kill them with kindness because I'm not a fluffy person. I'm very like to the point. And if people listen, I'm a New York Italian. Like if people push me a little bit, I push back. So, but I always say, okay, this can result in feedback. So I'll say to them, like, thank you very kindly for pointing out this mistake. I didn't mean to make it, but thank you for saving me future embarrassment. But I always try to be courteous in the email back. But there's a few times that I've said, I'm going to cancel your transaction. I don't think I would like to do business with you moving forward. Maybe you should look for another seller. And if I get a bad feeling, I'm not going to ship something out because then they're going to say it's broken or they're going to say it's lost or something. And then I'm going to be out money. So I feel also with your gut, like the way you pick an item up, you pick your sellers. If I don't feel right about selling something, I won't do it. So it's not, at the end of the day, it's not just about the money. It's about everything, right? It's about the money, your reputation, and protecting yourself. So I try to be. Yeah, it is tough. It is tough when you can't connect to somebody face to face, but I feel like with Instagram, you at least learn a little bit more because if you're following them, you see a little bit about their lifestyle. So I don't know.
I agree completely.
It's tough. Listen, it is tough. When somebody says to me, I'm thinking about quitting my job and just being a reseller, I say, I give you like so much credit. Good luck. I wish you well wishes, but it is a lot of work. Like, yeah, I'm a reseller, but I will be on my phone until I was never on my phone like this. I used to read books at night. I am on my phone. It's sometimes until midnight. And then I'll go up into bed and I'll lay down in bed and then I'll do my potting, something like that. And I'll be like, Vita, it's midnight. Go the fuck to sleep. Like, you have to get up early. And then I'll get up at 7 and I'll be like, first thing I'll do, let me check my Instagram. And then I end up on it. And then to run all the different platforms, I have to copy, my info into all the different. So I am constantly listing, constantly taking pictures, constantly cleaning something in my house. And I'm like, there's piles in different corners of my house of things that I'm working on. And I'm sure it drives my husband crazy. We have a sink upstairs and then we have like a slop sink, next to the laundry, the laundry machine in the basement. And sometimes they'll both be full and things will be like soaking in it. And he's like, can I have one sink? And I'm like, well, not right now because I'm kind of working. But then there's linens hanging from things because I'm steaming them. And then there's, books that need to be aired out. And, there's always something. It's always work and there's always something around your house. It is not, unless maybe if you were into small items like jewelry or something, maybe it wouldn't take over your home, but it takes over my home. I have stuff everywhere and like I am working constantly. So, I wish I was a full-time so I wouldn't have to leave and do my other jobs. But at this point, I just feel like life is way too short to do the same thing every single day. And I say yes when opportunities come up. I get out of the house and do different stuff. I make my own schedule. I am my own boss no matter what. Even if I take like babysitting jobs, I'm still my own boss. I could tell them no when I don't want to babysit, and I could tell them I could only do it until 3 and I don't have to be chained to a desk until 10 o'clock at night. So this is definitely a better lifestyle for me because I think The Office killed me. It really did. It broke my spirit. And after 12 years, I was like, this is awful. If you don't have good coworkers and if you're not enjoying it, if you're not smiling every time you walk into that office. So I smile. I walk into an estate sale. I smile. I walk into a thrift store and I'm like, because I can't wait to see what's in there. I get excited. So it gives me a pep in my step. So I like it.
That's
I'll continue on with it.
That's the way to put it. You definitely have the passion.
Yeah.
it takes a whole lot of passion.
It does. It does. And you can't get discouraged easily. There's a couple of businesses that started that they're like, why am I not getting sales? And I'm like, you just have not put in enough time yet. It has nothing to do with you. You have to get a following. Like I needed a following. I don't think I would have half the business that I have if I wasn't part of our network. And if I didn't do shop shares and if I didn't participate, like I'm on Facebook all day long for us. Anytime I see a new post, I'm commenting or participating. I'm not wait why more of our network doesn't do team shares, I don't understand. Like why wouldn't you want all of the clients for all of those people to see visibility for your store? That's the only thing about our team I think could do a little bit better is if we have like 200 people in that team, we should be having way more shop shares and way more exposure. But I'm just happy. Everybody I've met have been so nice. So I'm happy to participate, whatever it is.
I think about that too, and I think it's because I would say majority of the sellers on our team are hobby or part sellers, and they got other things going on, which I understand, but it does take the time. That's what I tell people. Like when I got sick back in August, my whole sales just all my sales just plummeted. Right. And it's because I didn't have the time or energy to put into it. And it's really what it takes. It's only as good as the time and energy you put into it.
Yeah, like that whole it works if you work it. You have to work it. And there's times I look at my phone and I'm like, I don't want to look at my phone anymore. I don't want to hold it anymore. My elbow hurts because I've been holding up my phone to copy and paste the whole time. And I do it's a mental game, right? Like you have to mentally think, okay, I'm going to list this. Okay, what am I going to say in the description? How am I going to put it out there with all the hashtags that make people really look for it? So it is mental work all the time. And if I'm tired, if I'm mentally exhausted, I look at it and I go, oh, okay, have a good night, phone, because I'm not touching you. There's some days I don't want to touch it. And it's not because I don't have the time. I don't have the mental capacity to do it sometimes. I just want to take a nap.
Completely. I have that conversation with myself all the time. I often wake up, not in the middle of the night, but I naturally wake up around 3 or 4. I guess that is the middle of the night. And I'll check my phone, not because I'm curious, but because I want there to be less notifications.
Yeah, I know. I feel like, yeah. I
want to clear some out.
I know. It's true. It's true. It is. It's time. It's definitely time, and you decide how you want to spend it. There's some days that I'm like, I'm putting the phone down. I'm not working on this. I'm binging a Netflix show. But then there's times that I'm sitting there and I watched a whole Netflix show while I was working on my phone, and I have no idea what happened in it.
Yep.
I have no idea what happened. I'm like, and Nick, my husband will be like, did that just happen? And I'll be like, I honestly have no idea. And he's like, are you not watching it? I'm like, well, I am. Yeah. I'm multitasking. He goes, but you don't know if something just happened. Like, what's the point of watching a show? So I just need, I don't know, my mind needs to be stimulated everywhere. So
yeah, I understand. I do the same thing, except if I'm sitting there just watching a Netflix show, I start guilting myself because I'm like, well, I could be reposting some stuff right now.
Me too. I know, but I let a lot of it go because I'm like, there'll be tomorrow, and tomorrow I'll do it twice as hard. The other night I worked until midnight, and I think I had my phone the whole day, and it was like midnight, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I think I'm going to go to sleep now. I think I'm going to go to sleep. I think I'm good. I just listed 40 items and I just reposted stuff. I think I'm okay. And I was like, and then tomorrow I want to do something. That's okay. I just listed 40 items, so
exactly. It is. Stop a break sometimes.
Yeah. We all deserve it. Yes. So.
All right. So I think that's all I had for you today.
Awesome.
So thank you so much for doing this interview with me, and
it's awesome to
get to know you better.
Yeah, this was a good conversation. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I will see you on Instagram.
Okay, yay! Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
A big thank you to Vita from Vita's Vintage for taking time to talk to me today and giving us so much great insight and advice. Be sure to go check out her Instagram shop at Vita's Vintage. Thanks, guys.